Gallantly streaming. Hey, this is Uncle Bryan, Stories Worth Repeating. So glad you've joined me today. And we have no sound yet. We've got to plug this in. When we plug this in, then we'll have better sound. How's that for a false start? Well, boys and girls, thanks for joining me on Uncle Bryan's Stories Worth Repeating. And today I've got a great one here from the Bedtime Stories again called Jeffrey's Bandsman. So, today, Otong and I get to tell you this cool story. And boys and girls, this story today, you are going to have to help. You're going to need to be active, which means there's a chance your parents might get upset with you. Hopefully not. But if they do, blame Uncle Bryan and they can send me a note or something. But, excuse me, Okay, so this story could be in any little town in the United States in the summertime where boys and girls and their parents go to the fairgrounds and they have the chance to be able to hear incredible music and bands with trumpets and trombones and saxophones and drums and all those things. And so this story is about Jeffrey and his sister Ann, and they got to go listen to a band play at the fairground. In fact, this was one of those things, whenever it came, Daddy could say, okay, we're going to go to the band. And they'd say, oh, yes, we can't wait, let's go. And they'd get all their chores done. They'd do whatever Mom and Dad said. It was pretty amazing. And then they'd go to the band. And sure enough, they'd be grabbing hands and they'd be walking side by side. So one would be on one side, marching here, and the other on the other side. And they'd just walk all the way from their house to the place where the band was, and they'd sit and they'd listen. They might even get a nice little, a drink or some popcorn or something so they could enjoy that while they're there. And they'd listen to the music and they'd love to watch the cymbals go right at the perfect time. And they just absolutely loved it. So this one day after they'd finished the band, they were walking home. And I don't know why this happened. Not really sure why it happens with lots of boys and girls. Maybe you can help us understand this. But as they're walking, George, his name's not George, his name's Jeffrey. Jeffrey and his sister Ann, they wanted to be on the right side of Daddy. They wanted to hold Daddy's right hand, and they were arguing and fighting to see who could get his hand. And Ann would say, it's my spot, leave him alone, go to the other side. And Jeffrey'd say, no, it's not, it's my side, let me have it. And they back and forth. And Daddy, at first, he was patient for a while. But as they continued to do that, he finally said, Jeffrey, come around to my other side, it's perfectly fine. No, Daddy, I don't want to. I want that side. And they started walking. And Jeffrey fell back behind, pouting, and took longer, and Ann held onto the hand. And I don't know this, it's not part of the story, but I imagine, knowing boys and girls, I imagine Ann possibly turned around and looked at Jeffrey and maybe even went, but I'm sure Daddy didn't see it if she did. You wouldn't do that, would you, boys and girls? Would you do that to your brother or your sister? No, you wouldn't do that. No, and so they kept walking, and Jeffrey's back there just kind of... And they got all the way home, finally, and it was very late, which may have been part of the problem. They may have been tired. So they put Jeffrey to sleep, and sure enough, as soon as he went underneath those covers, he was fast asleep. Now, boys and girls, I got to tell you something a little bit different from the story, too. My family, my wife, we do the same thing. When my family and I, when we go to a meeting or we go to church or we go to a concert, and if my family's all together, we all try to get at my wife's right hand. Do you know why? Because her right hand is the only one that works now. Years ago, she and I were in a car accident, and we lost our first 2 babies in a car accident. And because of that, my wife's left hand doesn't work. And so if we want to hold hands, we all go to the right side. And so what happens for us, our family, when we go to a program or something, we all try to see who can get on her right side because we want to hold her hand, but also because she scratches our back. Oh, we love that. Oh, I just sit there in church and she scratches my back. Do you guys like having your back scratched? Oh, I love it. Sometimes if she rubs my head too. Now, my hair is like really wacky crazy right now. This is the virus hairstyle with wings, and I'm starting to look like Bozo the Clown. But, so back to our story. Okay. Jeffrey was sleeping. And then he woke up and said, oh, we get to go to the band again. And this time, in Jeffrey's mind, he was asked to be the band director. Can you imagine that? He would be able to stand up and he would be able to hold out his hands and he would be able to command each person to play at the right time. And he was so excited, so proud of himself. He's looking around. He's all dressed up and he's very nice. And he's looked out and he says, are we ready? And he was getting ready to start the music. I don't know what song he wanted to play. Maybe it was a Star-Spangled Banner. Or maybe it was the national anthem, right? Who knows what it was? Oh, say, can you see? I don't know. I'm not singing for you. That would be really bad on video. But, so he was getting ready to do this. And as he was getting ready to start the music, now boys and girls, this is where you can help me. Maybe not your family, but you can help me. Help me with the story. What's your favorite instrument? Any of you like playing drums? Anyone like drums? Okay, if you like playing drums, then I want you to grab something that you can use, like a little drumstick, okay? And you're gonna all of a sudden make noise. Okay? And if you like to play a trumpet, who likes to play a trumpet? Okay, just imagine. Okay? How about the trombone? Anyone like a trombone? Right? And how about the piano? Anyone like piano? My family likes piano. Okay. And how about the flute? Oh, the flute. They're so majestic. Okay. Whatever your favorite instrument is, okay, imagine that you are part of a band. And when Jeffrey was getting ready to say, go, imagine that everybody plays a different song. How do you think that would sound? Horrible. Horrible, right? Oh, Tom? Horrible, yeah. Can you imagine? It'd be like a whole bunch of monkeys getting together. Right? Yeah, you know that. Okay. So imagine Jeffrey's getting ready to start the music with the professional band, and all of a sudden, the drummer goes, the piano, the flute, and and Jeffrey's like, no, do it this way. I said, start now, play this song. And he's getting more and he said, they're not listening to me. And he's just yelling and screaming and he's feeling so horrible. And finally he says, why won't you listen? And at that sound, his mother came running into his room and said, Jeffrey, are you okay? Are you okay? And he's like, huh? What? Did the band music wake you up? And I said, no, Jeffrey, you've been dreaming. I've been dreaming? Aren't I leading the band? No, you're not leading the band. Oh. You didn't hear the sound? It was horrible. Nobody would do what I said. No one was following the directions. And then Daddy said, it sounds a little bit like you and Ann last night, doesn't it? And Jeffrey kind of got a little embarrassed. He said, yes, it does. We weren't listening and we weren't working together. And it was about just like the bandsmen, wasn't it? And they said, sure was, Jeffrey. And from that day on, whenever Jeffrey might begin to get impatient or grumpy or start to fuss and push back, sometimes all Mommy and Daddy had to say was, Jeffrey, don't forget the bandsman. And Jeffrey would remember that dream of that frustrating time of not being able to lead the music because everyone was making their own music and their own thing and following whatever they wanted. And that's not a good way to have peace and quiet or to have beautiful music. Right? So, I hope you've learned a lesson here today from Jeffrey and the bandsman. And thank you, Otong, for your help with me. I'm looking forward to seeing you again tomorrow, the next time. Whenever you watch, let me know if there's any special stories that you guys would like me to learn and have Uncle Bryan share and Otong share that story with you, as there's lots of stories to come, and I know there's many more out there, and they're worth repeating. So, blessings to you. See you next time. Bye-bye.